But now this is something the company is looking into, allowing kids under 13 to be on legally, to not have to lie about their age, and then maybe there would be some sort of parental supervision, their page linked to their parents' page, or some way that parents can monitor it. What do you think about that?
I think it's inevitability. I don't think Facebook really decides how we communicate. I think we communicate and Facebook responds by giving us ways to do that. And so, kids are going to be communicating this way in the future. This is what their society is going to look like. So to assume that you can't let them on is asinine. It's like saying that you can't let kids go to a park because you're afraid that a stranger might victimize them at the park, So as long as Facebook responds to what parents need for privacy controls, and parents can parent their children on how to act and behave in these social networks, then it'll be a great success. And whether Facebook does it or another social network does it, it's going to happen. Kids need to communicate this way in society in the future. So to get them on as early as possible helps them to be proficient in that style of communication.
Can you understand parents' concerns? I've put the question out there on my Twitter page, on our My Fox Austin Facebook page, and we are getting comments from parents saying, no way, I wouldn't let my kid under the age of 12 or 13 be on Facebook.
Right. Yeah, I understand the concerns completely. I mean, when a parent's afraid of their kid going to the park because a stranger might take them, I understand that concern completely. It happens all the time. Well, maybe it used to happen all the time, but now parents have been very active, and there's been a lot of awareness generated around how to keep kids safe when they're at a park or a public venue. Same thing is going to happen in social networking. There are people out there trying to victimize people online, and there are social networks now that are giving amazing amounts of privacy controls to prevent that. There's one in Austin called Ken Valley, and they provide a social network that's specifically designed to allow parents to control what their kids do and talk to their children and talk to their teachers and talk to their scout leaders and their sports coaches. And, these type of communication is going to exist. So there's got to be privacy around it. Parents need to be concerned about the privacy around it, but to restrict it is not the answer. To parent their kids to be responsible in those social networks is the answer.
So you've kind of gone into this, but let's talk not so much even about the security, safety aspect, but what about just the whole distraction issue that, these kids should be focusing on starting to have homework and learning and playing outside with friends, and that they don't need to be sitting there on Facebook talking to friends that way.
Sure. I'm sure TV was a distraction to kids in the 50s, and they had to learn how to cope with that because TV wasn't going anywhere. Communication's changed, and it's going to be rapid fire. It's going to be on social networks and online. Like I said, to not train people how to use those social communication tools is the wrong decision, because they're going to be there. So distractions will exist. Distractions exist everywhere. To train them how to cope with those distractions is the right answer, because they're going to exist and they're going to continue to exist.
Anything else that you want to say about it?
I mean, just kind of stuff I've talked about. I mean, everything always changes. The one thing you can be certain about in the world is that things will change. And the way that we talk as society has changed from the printed press to, TV media to the radio to now. And online is just another inevitability in that cycle, and there will be something else past Facebook. But the important thing is that we embrace these tools, because this is a signal of what society is doing. If we ignore them or we exclude them, it's a mistake. We're just training our kids not to be proficient in what societal reality they're going to face.
Kids are wanting to pay for certain games that you can get through Facebook, and their parents would be charged for that, I guess.
Sure, yeah. This is probably not airable, but I remember when the internet first started, I had a friend who stayed over that was not the most savory character, and they ended up with charges on their computer bill that wasn't the kind of charge they wanted to see when they were out of town one weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff happens. You just have to be able to make sure your kids are responsible. I mean, responsibility is really the key. If they're not responsible, they're going to do all sorts of things, and whether it's Facebook or something else, they'll sneak out of the house, they'll steal your credit card. You know what I mean? They'll go on Facebook and play games and rack up charges. Networks, like for a classroom or for a sports team. And so within those sports teams, within those classrooms, there's a particular amount of communication that will continue. So the parents can collaborate with the teachers, with the kids on homeworks and group projects, and understand the communication that happens between the kids, so it gives them a responsible way to communicate that the parents control. And the reason why is because kids need to learn how to talk this way. I mean, we're going to continue to talk this way even more in the future. I mean, my Andy's daughter, Adora, whenever she goes to the TV to change the channel, she does this. And she tries to swipe the TV. You know what I mean? Like, that was a startling moment to me because she's played with an iPad or a Kindle or a phone, and she just knows that as what she's going to do moving forward. So to her, changing a channel isn't like this or like this. You know, it's swiping in the air.
So funny.
That to me is indicative of what it's going to be like with social networks in the future too. So, you know, the reason I bring them up is because they've done something really interesting in which they've addressed an answer to this problem that is an actual viable answer and that can help on a micro level, not so much like Facebook's global reach, but to help like in your local community where a kid's world really is a very small little world. And if you can make that world safe, then it's a great place. It's like having, you know, neighborhood watch. So when your kids are playing in the street, robbers can't come up or kidnappers can't take them. You know, it's just giving them somewhere safe to do what they're going to do.